Okay, so our topic for today is all about communication and collaboration models in human computer interaction. Okay, so this is the second slide, third slide supposedly. So I'll go first here on the definition. So CSW, or computer supported cooperative work, it means that it's facilitating work by more than one person. So just so you know, in creating different system, it's collaborative work, and there should be a communication with each other so that the project would be successful. Why? Because there is a person assigned for the designing, there is a person assigned for the programming, there is a person assigned for the database, because all of us will have our major shift when we graduate. When we say major shift, we will focus on that when we are working. That's why this computer supported cooperation work has been established so that it will be easier for each other to work with other scientists or computer scientists like all of you. So why is computer supported cooperative work is needed? So it will have a study of how people work together as a group and how technology affect their working relationship. Also, support the social processes of work, often among geographically separated people. When we say geographically separated people, there will be times that you're gonna be working with a person assigned to a different country for a certain project, but they are still part of your project. For example, your colleague has been dispatched to United Kingdom, but you have a team meeting for your project. So for him to be able to join the team meeting, he needs to do it virtually. So that's one of the main advantage of computer supported cooperative work. So what are the examples of computer supported cooperative work, or CSCW? So scientists collaborating on a technical issue. Another example is authors editing a document together, programmers debugging a system concurrently. So um, this is very real because I'm working in the industry. So this is very real because um, a certain program is really big. So not just only one people can actually test it. So it will be more than one people. It will be a team of testers. And then workers collaborating over a shared video conferencing application like Zoom or Teams. Buyers and sellers meeting on eBay. So let's go back. There are also issues and theories involved in CSCW. So one issues and theory is that all computer systems have group impact. So that's actually given. Um, Not just in the school but also in the industry. Why? That's why there is called a group where, because of all of the computers working in the same network and being used by different people in a certain group for them to be able to perform their task. So ignoring this leads to ignoring this will actually lead to failure of systems, because if ever that there is no group communication and there are things that needs to be done by one or more people and there is no communication, the project will fail because the goal will not be met and the objectives. So you will experience that once you are ready on your thesis subject, because um, that's really hard. If you don't have any communications with your group mates, your project will definitely not meet the deadline. So look at several levels, initiate to larger scale context. So these are the following. So face-to-face communication, conversation, text communication, and group working. Those are the different example of CSCW that is being considered as the part that can easily be um, uh, observe that there is an issue between them. Face-to-face communication, why there is an issue with face-to-face communication, even though it's not pandemic before, there are times that they are not able to meet physically due to certain workload task. So sometimes they are not able to attend meetings because they are working on something very urgent. So also issues with conversation are easily to be identified. Why? Because if you don't understand the person that you are talking, there will be no conversation at all or communication, and you will not understand each other. So text-based communication, I think you're experiencing it nowadays because of the typhoons and whatsoever. So if there is no signal, you won't be able to send text communication. Group working, this is very much common with everyone. Issues with group working because you are all working with different attitudes. Sometimes conversation can be heated up in a certain group, and sometimes you actually tend to be, what do you call that, yung nagagalit kayo sa mga kasama nyo kasi ayaw nyo ng attitude nila. So those are very common issues na we are experiencing. So let's go to face-to-face communication. So face-to-face communication is the most primitive and most subtle form of communication. So it's often seen as a paradigm for computer-mediated communication. Why? Because face-to-face communication is normally the model for how the computer networks has been created. So it's actually the replica of mediated communication because it originated from face to face. So they are trying to imitate that computers can talk same as people, but they are not meeting the goal yet because it's really too hard. Maybe one of you would be able to come up with that goal, but so far right now, no one has achieved this yet since it's a very hard avenue to actually go on to. So what are the transfer effects? So carry expectations into electronic media. So sometimes the result is normally disastrous. Why? Because files may be corrupted. Your flash drive might be broken. So there are other different communications that can actually lead to a disaster. So sometimes hackers will tend to get your files, especially if it's confidential one. So it may also interpret failure as rudeness of colleague. So if you have a colleague that is always boasting with their work, sometimes they tend to always bring their files with them. So if there is no backup copy of that files, what will happen is that if that USB will be lost due to that certain attitude of your colleague, what will happen is that your project will not be finished if that certain USB will be misplaced. So, but we cannot avoid certain people's attitude. So, what we can do in regards to that is we make a backup for each and every one. So, if one of you will lose the file, at least if you are 5 members in a group, at least 4 can still have a backup copy. So example there are personal space. So video may destroy mutual impressions of distance. When we say video, um, if ever that your classmates is recording you without your permission, syempre magagalit ka. So that is one way of as an effect of group work. So if ever that you're gonna record someone as per Data Privacy Act, you should ask permission. Okay, another one is the happy lead, the glass wall effect will help. When we say glass wall effect, you are seeing your colleague as yourself. So whatever you want your colleague to do to you should also need to do it for them. So it's just give and take. For you to have a mutual working relationship, you may need to apply the glass wall effect. So another important things in collaboration and communication is the eye contact. So when we have eye contact, it normally conveys interest and establish social presence. So normally video may spoil direct eye-to-eye contact, but poor quality video better than audio only. So instead of you having an audio only, it's better to have a full quality video because you will have your own imagination see what is on the video itself. So another important thing in communication and collaboration is gestures and body language. So most of our communications is through our body. So this one is what we call nonverbal communication. So if you do a thumbs up, that means it's okay. So there are different kinds of body language that we can do to express communication. So normally gesture and the gaze of your eyes used to used to be a reference for other people. So sometimes psychologists use the gaze of the eyes to check if you are not telling the truth. So I think they're saying that if you're always looking down left side, that means you're not honest. So something like that. Head and shoulders video normally loses that. So you should close focus for eye contact or wide focus for body language. So back channels, I have an example here. So let's say we have two people, Allison and Brian, working together. So Allison says that, "Do you want Pansy that film? The green it starts at 8." And Brian will respond, "Great." So those back channels are not just words. So back channel responses from Brian to 1 and 2. So normally quizzical at 1. So do you fancy that film? Normally that's quizzical. The response is green. So the second one is affirmative. So what do you normally observe if ever that you will see if it's quizzical or affirmative? If it's quizzical, you're answering it directly. But for affirmative, you are something. Like it's not the real information, but you are something that it's the real one. So back channels normally include nods and grimaces, shrugs of the shoulders, grunts, and raising your eyebrows. So uterance normally is very bug, but then it may sharpen up just enough the conversation. So when we say uterance, you are saying something. So even though yung mga sinasabi ninyo medyo malabo at one point, your body language can actually sharpen that certain communication. So kahit nalalabuan sila with the way you talk, at least your body language may say something about what you are saying, so they would understand easily what you need to tell to them. So back channels, media effects. So restricting media restricts back channels. So for video, you have loss of body language. For audio, loss of facial expression. For half duplex, you are losing most voice back channel responses. For text-based, wala talaga kasi text lang ang nakikita mo doon. Pag video, mukha lang at boses, hindi mo nakikita yung body language. Pag audio, hindi mo nakikita yung facial expression niya kung siya ba ay nagsasabi ng totoo or hindi. Pag half duplex, pag sinabi nating half duplex, ito yung kalahati ng katawan kita. So you are losing most voice back channel responses. So hindi mo nakikita yung yung ginagawa niya sa kamay, yung ginagawa niya sa paa kasi minsan nakikita rin natin doon yung gusto niyang ipakita sa atin. So back channels and turn taking. Pag sinabi nating turn taking, bibigyan mo ng chance yung kabilang person to actually speak back for you to be able to understand each other. So normally in a meeting, yung mga speaker will offer the floor. So fraction of a second gap. They will ask the audience for feedback. So on the other hand, yung mga listener, they request the floor. So dito, kapag may gusto silang sabihin, magtataas lang sila ng kamay, then the speaker will call them. So there are also words like that will have a meaning. So when we say and if it's being said by the listener, you are to claim the floor. But if you are the speaker and you're saying the speaker would need to hold the floor, but often too quiet for half duplex channels. So examples are transcontinental conferences. When we say transcontinental conferences, for example, you are located in Asia and your other members are located in North America. So sometimes there are internet issues. So lag can exceed the turn taking gap. So if there is a lag, we can take that as an opportunity to turn it into a additional time na makakausap natin yung mga nandun sa harapan natin habang hinihintay natin yung nawala ng internet. So it normally leads to a monologue ng speaker with the audience physically. So what is the normal conversational structure? So normally, smallest unit is called uterance. So turn taking, uterances usually is alternate. Pag sinabi nating alternate, pag nagsabi ako ng konti sa ka-groupmates ko, dapat hahayaan ko siyang magsabi ng konti din hanggang sa matapos lahat and then babalik sa akin saka ulit ako magsasalita. So yun yung basic conversational structure. So yung adjacency pairs naman, pag sinabi nating adjacent, ito yung malapit sa inyo like yung katabi. So it's a normal simple structure. So yung adjacency, ito yung normal na structure ng communication pag adjacent. So B-X, A-Y, B-Y, A, B-Z, A-X. So kunyari ang magka-partner ay si B at si X. So B and X magka-partner, A and Y magka-partner, tapos si Z at saka si letter Z as in zebra, tapos si as in Charlie magka-partner. So kapag ka natapos na mag-usap, yung first partner, second partner, and third partner, pwede nang magpalit. So kanina ang magkausap si A and Y. So sunod na turn, pwede nga magkausap naman si B and Y, si A and Z. Tapos sa susunod, si B to Z naman, and then si A to X. Bakit hindi ko nilagay si C? Kasi si C, representation siya ng intercontinental issues na kunyari nagkaroon ng problema sa net. So hindi may times na hindi talaga siya makaka-join sa conversation pero nung orientation nakita siya. So what are the contexts in a conversation? So normally uterances are highly ambiguous. So we normally use context to disambiguate. So what are the two types of context? We have external context. So is external context, ito yung may reference to the environment. So example is Brian's that. So the thing is pointing out to something. Pag sinabi natin that, it's pointing out to something that is a reference to what is inside. So what is kung ano yung nakapaligid sa meeting ninyo. So for example, I'm the host of your meeting, and there is another monitor on my side. So if ever that I want to say that whenever you have a meeting, you need to make sure that that is turned on. So I will point out to the monitor. So that's what we call external context. And then another type of context is the internal context. So normally, itong internal context, ito yung may reference to the previous conversation. Pag sinabi nating previous conversation, what happened in the previous topic. So, o kaya yung huling sinabi. Kunwari, yung huli kong sinabi is external context. So, you need to make sure that you review that for our midterm exam. So, ang tinutukoy ko dong sa that na yun ay yung previous thing na sinabi ko, which is yung external context. So when you refer to a certain thing, it's called deixis, D-E-I-X-Y-S. So often, contextual utterances involve indexicals. So what are the indexicals that can be used? That, this, he, she, and it. So this may be used for internal or external context. Also, descriptive phrases can also be used when we are referring to things. So external, the corner post is leaning a bit. Internal, the post you mentioned. So when we say external, it's outside our meeting. The corner post is leaning a bit. Ituturo mo yun. Tapos pag internal, meaning to say part siya ng previous conversation natin, kung ano yung minention mo na post dun sa previous topic or sa huling sinabi mo is yung tungkol sa post. Kaya siya internal. So in a face-to-face conversation can point out something. So what are the common grounds? So resolving context normally depends on meaning. So participants must share some meaning. So kapag kunyari nag-discuss ako, it's very normal for me to ask feedback from you kung ano yung naintindihan ninyo. So yun yung share meaning or kung ano yung natutunan ninyo, ask ko kayo to share something about it. So you must normally share knowledge kapag may natutunan kayo sa speaker. So conversation constantly negotiates meaning. So ang tawag dun sa process na yun is grounding. So when we say conversation constantly negotiates meaning, titignan ko kung tama ba na yung intindi ko ay yun din yung naintindihan nyo sa diniscuss ko. So nung inaral ko siya, ito yung naintindihan ko at nung diniscuss ko siya, pareho ba tayo ng naintindihan? So each utterance is assumed to be number 1, relevant, and then number 2, helpful. Pag sinabi natin relevant, furthers the current topic. Pag sinabi natin helpful, comprehensible to the listener. So pag relevant, napapanahon ba siya? Pag helpful, naintindihan ba ng mga audience yung diniscuss ko? So focus and topic. So context resolve relative to current dialogue topic. So tracing topic is one way to analyze a conversation. So dito sa conversation example na nilagay ko rito, nagsimula si Allison na mag-start sa topic na rose. Oh, look at your roses. Tapos sabi naman ni Brian, but, but I've had trouble with green fly. So may issues daw siya ron sa insekto. So kinomplement ni Allison yung hawak ni Brian pero nag-change kaagad si Brian ng topic papunta ron sa insekto na nasa flower. So ang nangyari tuloy, na-miss ni Allison yung focus. So pwede siyang mag-breakdown. Kasi nag-open siya ng conversation so parang hindi napansin ni Brian. So parang inisip niya, hindi niya iniintindi. So pwedeng mag-breakdown si Allison. So makakasira yun sa collaboration and communication kapag member sila ng isang group. Kasi magtatampo si Allison kay Brian. So breakdown normally happens at all levels. So pwedeng topic, index, cells, and gesture. So breakdowns are frequent, but redundancy makes detection easy. People are very good at repair. So normally, electronic media may lose some redundancy. So breakdown may be more severe kapag sa electronic media yung communication. Kasi replication yun ng communication ng two people talking to each other. So mas severe yun kasi digital siya. So speech act theory. So ano nga ba yung speak act theory? A specific form of conversational analysis. So ina-analyze mo yung conversation. So sa speech act theory, excuse me. So yung utterances normally is characterized by what they do. So ano yung mga ginagawa nila and ano yung nangyayaring action. So example, I'm hungry. So propositional meaning is hunger, nagugutom siya. So intended effect, pag may nagsabi na I'm hungry, ang iisipin ng mga nakikinig sa kanya, nangingi siya ng pagkain kasi sinabi niya, I'm hungry, nagugutom ako. So it's a basic conversational act at meron yung illocutionary point. Ano yung mga illocutionary point? Promise, request, and declaration. So magpa-promise, magre-request, or magde-declare. Ang isipin na nakikinig, pwedeng magpa-promise siya, magre-request siya, or magde-declare. Pag sinabi natin magpa-promise, pwede niyang sabihin na kukuha ako ng pagkain. Pag magre-request, pwede bang kuhanan niyo ako ng pagkain habang ako nagdi-discuss para hindi naman ako nagutom habang ako nagdi-discuss. Pag declaration naman, mag-uutos siya. Kung may assistant siya ron sa audience, assistant, can you get me some food while I'm discussing? So yun yung declaration. So speech act, normally, hindi siya sinasabi. Parang nai-interpret mo siya na yun yung gustong mangyari ng speaker. So patterns and acts and coordinator. So general patterns of acts can be identified. Conversation for action or CFA is regarded as central. So basis for group well tool coordinator. So number 1 is structured email system. Number 2, users must fit within conversation for action structure. So not liked by the users. So yun yung mga normal group word tool coordinator. So example of a conversation for action. So A is for request, B is for promise. So eto assert. So magre-request, pagka-request magpa-promise, and then meron tayong assertion na, and then magde-declare na after. So on this part, pwedeng mag-decline. So babalik sa another promise. So ano yung kasunod ng declaration? So pwede nang mag-counteract. So it's either magka-counter pabalik sa request yung nag-declare. So kunyari, dineclare niya na nagugutom siya, inutusan niya yung assistant niya, and then pag tinanggap yun ng assistant niya, pwedeng mag-counter yun pabalik sa request sa kung yung assistant na yun ay may assistant din dun sa mga audience or ka-close niya, nakisuyo siya ng pagkain. Yun yung tinatawag natin na counter. Pagdating naman sa 7, dito sa promise, pwedeng mag-withdraw. So pwedeng instead na mag-decline ka, pwedeng sabihin mo na lang, ayoko po kasi gusto ko nakikinig ako. Gusto ko matutunan yung topic. So, pwede kang magdahilan na hindi ka makakakuha ng pagkain kasi gusto mong pakinggan yung topic. So, meron tayong din tinatawag na reject or withdraw. Pag sinabi mong reject, it's normally similar to decline. Pero ito talaga ay nireject mo na talaga. Pag dinecline mo kasi, pwedeng utusan ka pa ulit eh. Pero pag nireject mo, ibig sabihin nun, wala na, hindi ka na niya pwedeng utusan talaga. So normally, yung circles dito sa gantong model, it represent yung state ng conversation. So yung arc naman, yung ganito, yung mga arc, it represent yung mga utterances o yung mga speech acts. So pwedeng nagsabi ka pabalik, parang ganun. So paano natin gagamitin yung CFA, yung communication in action? So yung simplest route, merong 1 to 5. So request muna, magpa-promise, then mag-a-assert and magde-decline. So yung next na possible route naman, 1, 2, 6, 3 yung kanina, request, counter, and then accept lang. So magre-request, it's either magka-counter ka, pag sinabing counter, tatanggihan mo yung sinabi nung nag-request or mag-uutos ka sa iba or pwedeng i-accept mo na ikaw na yung gagawa. So yun yung pinaka-simplest route na pwede mong gawin dun sa diagram kanina is 1 to 5. Tapos yung pinaka-complex naman yung 1, 2, 6, and 3. So balikan natin 1, 2, 6, and 3. 1, 2, 6, and 3. So magre-request tapos magpa-promise, i-accept, and then mag-a-assert. So magpa-promise, mag-a-accept, mag-a-assert. Pag sinabi nating mag-a-assert, ito na yung ipe-perform mo yung action. Ayun, so